Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subject is principle of auditing. In today's topic is on international standard on auditing. Today we will discuss international standard on auditing 210. The title of the standard is agreeing the terms of audit engagement. Agenda for today lecture is Introduction to International Standard on Auditing 210, Objective of the Standards, Definition of Terms, a requirement of the standard, Scope of International Standard on Auditing ISA 210. Introduction. This standard deals the auditor initial engagement. Initial engagement means with the client. For example, if an auditor first time our chartered accountant firm or partner of the firm first time is appointed by the board of directors to conduct the audit of the company, and he receive a proper letter from board of director in which they recommended this specific audit firm for the for conducting of audit of the company. So this standard deal this initial terms about the engagement of auditor with their client. First of all, the scope of the audit. This audit will deal that what is the auditor responsibility, auditor responsibility to develop the terms of audit engagement with the management or with those who have a governance responsibility, or in other words who are charged with governance. The second scope of the audit is that it is the auditor's responsibility to formulate a precondition that what should be the condition for conducting an audit. One of the precondition is independence of the auditor, which the audit firm or the auditor never compromise. The third point in the scope of the ISA that the auditor must clear it to the management that what are the responsibility of the management. Oftenly in audit engagement, it is said that the making a financial statement is the responsibility of the management. Effective date of the ISA is 15th of December 2009. It is applicable. It will be applicable if the company adopted the framework of international standards on auditing. Objective of the audit. The objective of the audit is that it enables the auditor to accept and continue audit engagement. So these audit engagement means that initial terms and conditions that auditor and the company finalize in their initial phase. Not the management but the board of directors of the company finalizes these terms with the auditors. Second objective is it enables the auditor to establish the precondition for the audit. Precondition means access to all accounts, independence of the auditor, availability of all book of accounts, and access to the computer system if the accounting system is computerized. Third objective is confirm a common understanding. A common understanding means understanding what the board of directors are those who are charged with governance and auditing engagement with the management. Not only management but also with BOD, board of directors, who are responsible to appoint an auditor. definitions. For the purpose of this audit specifically, precondition for the audit means acceptable financial reporting framework. For example, if a company is operating in Pakistan and do not follow Company Ordinance 1984, then it is not acceptable to the auditor. The company is mandated to follow or to adopt the articles or the articles of the Company Ordinance 1984. And the company must have adopted international accounting standard or international financial reporting standard. If the company operating in Pakistan and do not adopted IFRS, then it is unacceptable financial reporting framework. And for the financial statement and agreement with the management. The second thing is finalize with the agreement between auditor and the management or with the board of director. Second purpose of the audit, management is also called those charged with governance. Those charged with governance means the governing body of the company. Openly, board of director or the shareholder in their annual general meeting appoint an auditor. Requirement. First requirement is in order to establish whether the preconditions for an audit are present, the auditor should first, what should the auditor do? The auditor should determine whether financial reporting framework to be applied in preparation of financial statement is acceptable or not. Acceptable condition, as I discussed earlier, the IFRS, Company Ordinance 1984, International Standards on Auditing, International Standards on International Accounting Standards. These are followed by the company or not in making financial statement. It will be an acceptable framework. Second is agreement. The second is to obtain the agreement of the management that it acknowledges and understands its responsibility. So why the agreement with the management? So that the auditor become clear that what are the scope and what are the responsibility of the auditor and what are the responsibility of the management. For preparation of financial statement in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework, including where relevant their fair presentation. For such second, why the agreement should be obtained by the auditor? The second point is such as internal control as management determine is necessary to enable the preparation of financial statement. They are free from material misstatement because of fraud or error. The third thing that management agreement are obtained by the by the auditor, access to all information. The auditor should have provided an access to all information of which management is aware that is relevant to the preparation of financial statement, such as record, documentation, and other matters. Any additional information that the auditor may request from management for the purpose of conducting the audit. Third is there should be an unrestricted access to the person within the entity from whom the auditor determined it is necessary to obtain audit evidence. So unrestricted access of the employee and unrestricted access to the auditors should be given in order to get audit evidence in more effective way. Requirement. What are the limitations on the scope prior to audit engagement acceptance? If management or board of director or any persons who are governing the organization impose any restriction or limitation on the scope of the auditor works in terms of proposed audit engagement. Means when they are signing the audit engagement and they impose any limitation on the scope of the auditor work, such that they believe the limitation will result, and the auditor come to know that such limitations will result in auditor disclaiming an opinion on the financial statement. The auditor shall not accept such limitation or restriction imposed by the management on the auditor. So auditor for example, if the auditor in audit engagement there is a term that the auditor will not have an access to the inventory that are kept in the stores. So this is one of the conditions in the audit engagement. The auditor should not accept this type of audit engagement because it imposes limitation on one of the item of the balance sheets. Similarly, if condition is put in audit engagement that the auditor will shall not have an access to the cash or cash equivalents, again it will affect the opinion that auditor will give upon the financial statement. So the auditor should not accept that type of audit engagement. Other factor affecting audit engagement acceptance. If the precondition for an audit are not present, the auditor shall discuss the matter with the management. If the law required or regulation required to do so, the auditor shall not accept the proposed audit engagement in case. What should be the case? If the precondition does not exist, the auditor should discuss it with the management. For example, if the auditor believes that the financial reporting framework applied in preparation of financial statement is unacceptable, so they should not accept the audit engagement. If the agreement referred to the access to any additional information, then the auditor again reject the audit engagement. Agreement on audit engagement terms. The auditor shall agree the terms of the audit engagement. Audit engagement is basically, in very simple words, it is a contract between management and the auditor for conducting an audit. With the management are those who are governing, or those charged with the governance, or who are governing the organization. Second is, it should include responsibility of the management and auditor both. So these terms should be included in the audit engagement terms or in the contract between auditor and the management. First is audit engagement letter should be recorded in audit engagement letter. It should include responsibility, that what is the management responsibility and what are the auditor responsibility. Management responsibility is to prepare a financial statement, while auditor responsibility is to provide reasonable assurance to the shareholder that the financial statement are not materially misstated. That should be included in audit engagement letter or in audit contract, auditor's contract with the management. Identification and application of financial reporting framework. What is the framework, the financial reporting framework that are applied in that specific country? In Pakistan, the auditor should be according to Company Ordinance 1984, Banking Company Ordinance 1962, International Financial Reporting Standard, International Accounting Standard, International Standard on Auditing, and any other law such as Code of Corporate Governance applicable at the time. So the financial statement for preparation of the financial statement. The third is form and content of any report to be issued by the auditor. Their engagement letter should include that what type of audit report shall be issued by the auditor at the end of the hour on the completion of the audit. If it is operation audit, then one type of auditor report will be issued. If it is a compliance audit, then another type of auditor report will be issued. If it is statutory audit, then there is a specific format given by Form 35 of Company Ordinance 1984 and by the International Standards on Auditing ISA 700 give a proper format of the audit report that would be issued by the auditor in case of statutory audit. Circumstances in which report may be differ from the expected from the contents. For example, if the auditor find that the management produce hurdle in access to any specific inventory item or any other balance sheet item, or management is not cooperating to physically verify their fixed asset, then the auditor will give adverse report instead of unqualified report. If law provides detail about terms of audit, then auditor need not to record them in written agreement. If let's suppose if there is any country who prohibited the auditors to write the audit terms of the audit, then the auditor should not insist with the management to record it or to have a written agreement. For example, another things that should be given in recurring audit is if it is another thing that should be included in audit engagement letter is if the audit is recurring, the auditor shall assess the circumstances to devise the terms of audit or not. For example, if the auditor was auditor in previous year and they generate an agreement which is called terms of the audit engagement, then the auditor will assess or will examine the circumstances in the current year that we should revise the term of audit or not. Auditor should not accept the changes in engagement without any justification. So there should be a proper justification for changes in audit engagement letter. Changes on an audit engagement letter should be recorded. An audit engagement means in the contract between auditor and management should be recorded in audit engagement letter. Audit engagement letter is basically not a letter, it is an agreement between the auditor and the management. If auditor does not agree to change the terms, then management create hurdle in continuing audit on original terms, then the auditor must withdraw from the audit and report the circumstances. If there is any issue on which the auditor is not willing to change the terms of audit engagement or the agreement that was signed with the management, and management insisting on changing such type of audit terms of the audit, then the auditor should withdraw from conducting the audit of that company and give a report to the shareholder about the circumstances which arises and give birth to a conflict. What additional consideration should be focused when acceptance the audit engagement? If there is a conflict in financial reporting framework and additional requirement, then the auditor should demand additional disclosure in financial statement. For example, if the financial reporting framework does not require any company to disclose on any specific matter, while auditor insists that without that disclosures, the company financial statement will not give true and fair view to the shareholder, then the auditor should demand that from the company that specific additional disclosure should be given in financial statement. The auditor may modify the opinion if management does not agree for the disclosures. So modification is one type of report. qualification, unqualified report, modified report, and adverse report. So if that conflict is not of a severe nature, then the auditor put a modification in the report on that specific disclosure that the auditor was demanding. Auditor report prescribed by law or regulations. In some cases, law or regulations of the relevant country prescribes the layout or wording of the auditor report in a form or in terms that significantly different from the requirement of the international standards on auditing. In these circumstances, the auditor shall do the following steps. In Pakistan, Company Ordinance 1964 gave Form 35, here is it, ISAs and Form 35A, not only 35, 35A. That is the format of the audit report given by the company, and ISA 700. ISA 700 also give a format. If there is a conflict between the two, or if there is difference between the two, then the auditor should follow the relevant regulation. Relevant jurisdiction prescribe light or wording of the auditor report in the form or in terms that are significantly different from the requirement. In these circumstances, auditor should assess whether additional explanation in the auditor's report can mitigate the possible misunderstanding. Auditor should examine that if we give any additional information on the report will reduce the misunderstanding of the report, then the auditor should give additional information. If the auditor conclude that additional explanation in auditor report cannot mitigate the possible misunderstanding, then the auditor shall not accept the audit engagement unless required by law or regulation to do so. If the auditor is giving a report on the completion of the audit and their findings, and they examine the format of the report and come to a conclusion that even if we give an additional information is unable to reduce the understanding of the audit report, misunderstanding of the audit report, then auditor should withdraw from the audit engagement. If it is mandatory for the auditor to complete the audit by law, let's suppose law required the auditors to complete it, then the auditor will do so. Auditor conduct an audit in accordance with such law, regulation, and does not comply with the ISA. It made it clear that in Pakistan, the auditor will follow Form 35 for audit report instead of ISA 700 report. Accordingly, auditor shall not include any reference within the auditor report to the audit having been conducted in accordance with the ISA. If the auditor follow the relevant law or regulation, then he should not give any reference that we have conducted audit according to international standards on auditing. This is all about today's lecture. Thank you.